Thank you, Ron. But we're here. You know, the kitchen's only small if you're a big person, you know? We're very small, so for us, we can't even reach the top of the shelves. How's that? Can you hear us now, folks? You got us? Great. Maureen's going to come right in. So as I said, we have baked clams. We have Clams Casino, and we have Coquille St. Jacques. We're going to start out with baked clams, first and foremost. Celery, we have onion, we have celery, we have green pepper. And that's going to go in right now. Maureen, let's take a look here.
Sound is back. People are saying.
So here we have some crumbled up bacon, and I rendered it, so I've taken the fat out of it. This is going to go right in here. First things first. There we go. All right. And I'm going to give that a stir around. Uh-oh. You think it's going to be one of those nights, Maureen?
Yeah. Seems like when the heat goes, when
Yeah,
it gets hot outside, everything else malfunctions.
Yeah, when the heat is on.
Yeah.
It's on the street. A little bit of black pepper. See, it got so hot here last week, folks, in the kitchen, that the iPhone turned itself off. That's how hot it got. Maybe tonight will be another one of those nights. We don't know. But please, have some patience. I was getting really worried there, Joanne. We're going to do our best, I promise you. And I'm so sorry about that. Now, celery, carrot, onion. This would be considered the Cajun mirepoix, the French mirepoix. I'm sorry, the French mirepoix is celery, carrot, and onion. This is green pepper, onion, celery. That's the Cajun mirepoix. They don't use the carrot. I'm going to throw in a little bit of chopped garlic as well.
And this is to start off what?
This is to start off the baked clams.
Okay.
So we have baked clams, we have Clams Casino, and the Coquille St. Jacques. We're going to do them, the clams together, the Coquille St. Jacques we'll do in one shot, all at the end. So right now, I'm just going to saute going on this celery, carrot, celery, onion, garlic, green pepper. So we want to let that cook down a little bit, and I'm going to add some clam juice to that, some parsley things to make this beautiful stuffing. Just like a stuffing you would have for your Thanksgiving, it has to have breadcrumbs, it has to have liquid, it has to have aromatics and some vegetables and some protein. In this case, our protein is going to be clams. You guessed it. But how did I get there? Well, I started out with a little bit of chopped bacon. So I'm just going to pull out one of these because I don't need it right now. But first and foremost, while this works, I still need to chop up some more bacon for our Clams Casino. So the big difference between Clams Casino and baked clams, number one, in Clams Casino, the clams are whole. They remain whole. In the baked stuffed clams, the clams are chopped, and there's a lot of breading. So it's very important when you chop up bacon like this that the bacon be pretty cold.
It's easier to cut, right?
It's much easier to cut. You know, when the bacon is room temperature and you're running your knife through it, it can get a little squiggly, especially if your knife's not really sharp. So I'm going to get a little heat under one of these pans over here as well. Just a dash of olive oil there. These were requests. We put out the request hour about a month ago, or 5 weeks or so, when we were not really running out of things to do, but we certainly didn't want to repeat anything, so we put out some requests. I was really happy to see Coquille St. Jacques, because frankly, I've never made one before. Tonight is the world premiere of the Block Island Seafood Company, Coquille St. Jacques. But it runs in my family. My mother has been making it for years. My brother Mark makes a great one. And my Gam, who was my mom's mother, she made a great one as well. She was a very good cook, my Gam. She really was.
Yeah.
My Nana was also a very good cook, but she served up a lot of her dishes with guilt. You know, I'd get over there and I'd see her, because she lived around the corner, and I would go see her all the time. And every time I got there, she'd say, "Hello, stranger. Where you been?" Even if I had just visited the day before.
Did she have a signature dish?
Nana had 2 signature dishes. Let me show you this first, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
So I have just this crumbled bacon. That's going to go right in here. Bingo. Get some good heat under here. And we're going to move that bacon around, render the fat. Now, if you'll take a look here at this one, you'll see that this has already started to soften. Our celery, our onion, our pepper, already starting to soften. So this is going to be the beginning of a stuffing, like your traditional stuffing. This is going to be for the Clams Casino. But with my Clams Casino, there's no gambling.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because they're going to taste great. So, my Nana, her signature dish, for me at least, she had 3 signature dishes. Macaroni and cheese, which she made it and then she baked it. I always felt like she overcooked it a little bit because it was a little too hard and a little too crunchy. But then when she'd say, "Do you want to take some home?" I felt bad, of course, so I'd always say, "Yes, Nana, please." And then she'd say, "Let me get an old country crock tub and put it in. I can't give you my good Tupperware. I'll never get it back." Again, you know,
Guilt.
with the guilt. So Nana's mac and cheese, Nana's heavenly hash, which I believe some people refer to as ambrosia. I believe it's a combination of like the can of fruit cocktail mixed with some marshmallows, and you mix that around. I think that was basically heavenly hash. And another one of Nana's signature dishes, at least for me, which I love, she had this ham and cream corn casserole topped with mashed potatoes. Oh boy, I was a husky little 7th grader after that, let me tell you. So it was a mixture of canned cream corn with chopped up big pieces of ham in, you know, the clear glass dish, the Pyrex dish, and then like a full 1.5 inches of freshly made mashed potatoes on top of that. She would bake it, I would eat it, and then pass out.
Yeah, that sounds
Wednesdays
about right.
at St. Sebastian's were a half day. So with a half day, it was lunch at Nana's.
Brad Reese.
Hey, Brad.
Can you use turkey bacon for those allergic to...
Can you use turkey bacon? Sure you can. But, thanks for that question, Brad. Brad asked, can we use turkey bacon instead of regular bacon? We can, but the point of bacon in both of these dishes is not just flavor, but also as a as a fat to saute. So you could skip the turkey bacon if you wanted. You know, if you felt like you didn't need to substitute it, or use the turkey bacon, that's fine. But I would add a pat of butter or 2, or maybe a little dash of olive oil just to get some extra fat in there. Because turkey bacon being so lean won't render out fat like regular, you know, pork bacon will. So just keep that in mind. So as you'll see here, you see I'm already starting to get this grease working here. I hate to use the word grease, but I'm getting good fat coming off of that bacon. So I'm going to use it. And how do I use this? Well, the first thing I do is I just take a paper towel. And I get a slotted spoon.
In there.
Somebody was playing with my slotted spoon. I don't want to say who it was. And I just pull out the bacon. I gotta do this over here. Early on in the history of the cooking with Craig here at Block Island Seafood Company from Studio 1C, I was taking the bacon out of a pan, and I had the paper towel too close to stove,
Uh-oh.
and Maureen got nervous, and I set the thing on fire. And that was our first fire. And then we had another fire. When did we have our second fire? I had some chicken in the oven. And I had some parchment paper, and it got a little too close to the broiler. Sorry about that. So, Clams Casino. Back there, you'll see I have that rendered fat. Now I'm going to add a couple of items to it, like some green onion, which I have right here. This is going to go right into that fat that the bacon gave us. What very, you don't find generous bacon like that everywhere. So Brad, I guess I would say that turkey bacon is not as generous.
Well, he said allergic to meat, so more butter it is.
Oh, okay. So allergic to the turkey meat too, then? Yeah.
No. He's allergic to anything with a hoof, he said.
Oh, okay.
So what does a turkey
So
have?
turkey bacon, turkeys have, they have their
Their feet?
little claws.
Yeah.
Talons.
Okay.
Okay, we have a green pepper here. Now remember, this is going to go on a clam, so you don't want to have these pieces of pepper so big that they're not going to fit on a clam. Like, you wouldn't want something like that. It's got to fit on a clamshell, remember. I'm going to cut it nice and small here. Good sharp knife. If you don't have one, make sure you get yourself one. Or at least get yourself a knife sharpener at pretty much any supermarket or restaurant supply store, Amazon. So I'm going to let that get softened up, and I want to put a little bit of onion in there as well.
Mary Jo Spinella, green pepper is not my favorite. How about red?
Sure, you could use red, but
That-
we're also going to be having some pimento in here, some sliced pimento. So you'll just have a little extra of the red color. But maybe use yellow pepper is
Oh,
beautiful.
that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, it would. I'm going to dice up this onion real quick. As you see, it's been cut in half. So I just peeled this back. But I always keep that root intact. And I don't run my knife through it, because I need that root. It is the anchor of this onion. I take my knife. How's Joanne doing? Joanne, are you there? Please let us know. A little bit of a diced onion here. So here we have green onion, regular onion, and we have green pepper. That's working in some bacon fat. Here at our baked clam land, I'm going to lower the temperature on there because now I've got to get a little bit of clam juice in there. Here's some clam juice that I'm going to put right in. Maureen, you want to help us out?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
So we've softened up our green pepper, celery, onion. The bacon is in there as well. Now I start to add a little bit of clam juice. There we go. Now that's my clam juice. In here, can you see those?
Mm-hmm.
Those are my whole clams. I'm going to chop those up. I'm also going to show you how I shuck them. Let's take a look. No word from Joanne yet.
Joanne. Oh, looks so good. Great job. Easy to follow.
Welcome back, Joanne. Jeez, you had us so worried. Here, we have some whole clams. Now, these are cherry stone clams. Or top necks, at least. I mean, I came from a clam about this big. I have some little neck clams, which I'm going to shuck for you later on and show you how to get the juice. As a matter of fact, I have some in the fridge. But for now, what I'm going to do is take out these cherry stone clams.
Is that my cue? To get
No.
stuff out of the fridge? Okay. I'm just making sure.
And I'm just going to chop these clams right up. Now, I also keep my finger away as much as I can because sometimes when you shuck the clam, you might wind up with a little shell in there. So if I'm too close and I hit the shell with my knife, the knife might hit the shell and not go through and in actuality turn itself. And if it does that, it'll get my finger. So I kind of keep the hand away.
Joanne wants to know, why do they usually serve the tiny clams casino in the restaurant?
Because they're really meant to be eaten in one bite. So Clams Casino is a sort of an old Italian restaurant appetizer, and it's a one bite item. Baked clams, you use a fork, you take your time. So you wouldn't want to use a cherry stone clam for a Clams Casino because it could be pretty big. So here I've got these beautifully chopped clams. Those are going to go right into this broth here, my clam broth. And those are going to cook up. Those are going to cook up pretty quickly. Remember, the clams don't take that long to cook. Plus, we're still going to bake them. So let me get my hands dry. If you're at home right now and you're kind of enjoying yourself, maybe give a big round of applause, a quiet round of applause at home to Maureen, who's really hot in this kitchen right now. And me, you don't see me sweat, because all the Botox, everything, I don't sweat. But Maureen, oh, she's a mess back there, folks. Absolute mess. We're going to bubble up our clam broth. That's going to cook the clams, finish off cooking the vegetables as well. We're going to add a little bit of green parsley here, as opposed, I don't know any other colored parsley, but some nice fresh parsley. And I'm going to put that in.
Thank you. Everyone's saying I'm special and round of applause. That's
Maureen
very nice.
really is special, folks. Trust me. She's terrific. And here at home, we know she's terrific. She tells me every day, regardless of whether I've asked or not. So here you can see it's liquidy. It's liquidy. And that's okay, that's what we want. Now you'll see, before you folks got here, I had just some white bread. I cubed it up, and I threw it in the oven.
For how long?
Just until it gets toasty, until it gets dry. You want to just dry it out. If you have a couple of, some day-old bread in it, just leave it out. It'll get, the moisture will leave it, and it'll get dried up on its own. You don't have this, use some panko breadcrumbs. That'll work just fine.
Joanne wants to know if this is my dinner tonight. I don't know.
She's tough, Joanne. She's not a big seafood eater. Which kind of stinks for me. Because I cook a lot of seafood. But I make her whatever she wants.
I do like the baked clams.
She likes baked
right?
clams. Yeah, we like the
yeah,
baked clams.
Yeah.
Those are the stuffed clams. She likes the stuffed clams. Maureen will also eat from time to time. So sometimes you go to the restaurant and they have baked clams. Those are the ones that are going to be cooked whole in the shell, with a little bit of seasoned breadcrumb, like a garlic seasoned breadcrumb with a dash of white wine. And that moist breadcrumb gets packed onto the baked clam, gets baked in the oven, and then a combination of clam juice that the clam is sitting in mixes with those toasty breadcrumbs and makes for a delicious appetizer. That's not too far from Clams Casino. So they're all sort of a little bit different. What I'm making tonight here is called a baked stuffed clam. in Rhode Island, which is actually where Block Island is located, these would be called stuffies. And in Rhode Island, a stuffy, in places like Galilee and Point Judith, which is now called Point Judith, but I think it used to be called Galilee. George's is the place I was thinking of. So they make these great stuffies, and my sister-in-laws, the Fitzgeralds, who are from Rhode Island, they like to use the term stuffies as well. And my friend Teresa Hart now, so she's gave me a stuffy one time. It had shrimp and scallops and clams in it. Delicious. It's the same concept. But when you put the clams in, you put some scallop and you put a little bit of shrimp in there as well.
David Haynes said, not everyone was seasoned in a restaurant without AC. Power to you, Maureen. However, I was. I am a seasoned restaurant.
Dave did many positions at Lobster Inn. Like myself, Dave knows the beauty of working without air conditioning. And as we would always say at Lobster Inn, you know, it's really only like 1 or 2 days a whole summer when it's an issue. And that really wasn't true. People would walk in the restaurant and they would go like this. On the hottest day of the year, they'd go like this. You don't have air conditioning? So either Dave or myself, somebody surly up front would usually say, no, we do have air conditioning, but we just didn't think we would use it today. And they would say, are you crazy? I'd say, no, what is wrong with you? Why did you think if we had an air conditioner, it's 200 degrees in here, you don't think we would turn it on?
That's crazy.
I know, but it was part of the charm.
Well,
So-
my restaurant, it was an old house. I think it was air conditioned, but that kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the kitchen at Lobster Inn, there was no AC in there either. There was no AC anywhere. So what you had to do was you had to take breaks, and I explained this in our last show, you had to take breaks in the deli, which was the walk-in box, which housed, you know, various food items and the beer. So while you were cooling off in there, sometimes maybe you would treat yourself to a nice cold beer. Nothing wrong with that. So here we have, in all the time we were chatting, thank you, Dave, for that. We've got our baked clams here, which have sort of come together nicely. And I wanted to get some of the smaller crumbs as aside from just the, you know, these large cubes. But the large cubes work too, but I didn't have that much broth, so I felt like I needed to get some of those little cubes, a little bit of crumb in there and kind of soak up what I had left. And you'll see right here what this stuffing looks like. And don't forget, we have some bacon fat in there, we have the clam juice, we have the liquid that the vegetables gave off. So all that liquid is going to get absorbed right into these breadcrumbs. So that's that. But we're not done yet, of course. We've got to put them into shells.
Brad says bring the splat back.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I'm going to be out there this weekend at Rocky's Lobster Bar, at the Beach Bar, cooking with my good buddy Mark and Jen. So I'll be out there this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I told him I'd help him in the kitchen. I don't know if I'll be of help, but I'm going to do my best. So come on out and hang out. I got a little bit of chopped garlic. I'm just going to throw that into the casino. And I'll come back to that. So we have this beautiful stuff here. And look at this. I happen to have a couple of clamshells, empty clamshells. Where did I get those empty clamshells? Well, I got them from the clams that I opened.
You put the chopped up clams in there, right?
I put the chopped up clams in there. Yep. This is a spoon that you can only use for this. If you don't have this kind of a spoon, you can't make the recipe. I'm sorry.
That is a big spoon.
Stolen right from your high school cafeteria string bean lady. So just grab some of your look at that right there. I sort of push it in, and then slide the spoon right off. I think we'll do a 3. These are sort of on the larger side.
It's beautiful.
I think that's a good bit. Now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to, you could glaze this with a little bit of butter and lemon zest, and a high heated oven. The butter will sort of make a nice glaze on top. But we also have in here, folks, remember, a lot of bacon grease. So that bacon grease is going to rise to the top, and it's going to bubble right there. So let's get these in the oven.
What's the oven at?
I have the oven right now on broil because I have to broil some stuff later. But your recipe, which I have for the folks right here, I have to put my glasses on. But about a 375 oven for about 12 to 15 minutes will be great. Now, if the baked clams are cold, then do it about, again, 375 for about 15 minutes. Maybe try to bring them out and leave them at room temperature for a little bit.
And all the recipes were posted earlier.
All the recipes are on blockislandseafood.com, and they were sent to the Hot Pod Library as well. Here's to you, Maureen.
Thanks, darling.
I'm really drinking a lot of water. Really loving the water these days. So while we were chatting, I had the green pepper, the white onion, the green onion. That's all nicely sauteed right in here. And we're going to get to finishing these Clams Casino in one moment. A couple of things I need to do. I need to get a pimento.
Oh, that's a great smell. I just gotta...
Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
I love these, You can buy the pimento strings, or I'm going to use this larger version here, the roasted red pepper. And because I figured during the week I'll make some sandwiches, and I'll put those on the sandwich.
Oh. Guess who popped in telling us we need air conditioning?
Who? Pat?
No, Scott Wynn.
Oh, thanks a lot, Scott. We have air conditioning, but not in the kitchen. And I do have a lovely fan here, which takes out a lot of the heat. But Joanne was having difficulty hearing me. So there's a guy, he lives in Woodside, and I think he's a cowboy or something, I don't know. But he jokes on this, he says, "Greg, you ought to get up here, this is what you gotta do." So we were always talking about cooking, and he says he likes to fry chicken in his house. And I said, that's a little much, no? And he says, no, I got myself one of these guys here at Home Depot. So I went and got myself one of these here at the Home Depot. I still don't fry chicken in the house. But it is amazing how much smoke and heat this little unit can take out of the house. So I've got my pimentos right here.
Why are those called pimentos and not just... They're
Roasted
red pepper.
red pepper. Yeah, I really don't know. I think the pimento is usually brined a little bit more, traditionally maybe coming from the olive. So I'm going to get those right in there. My pimentos are in. I'm going to need some flat leaf parsley. We're going to finish this with some white wine, some lemon juice. Where are you?
Will thinks you're talking about him, the cowboy.
No. No, my buddy Rob. Rob, who built our banquette. Did a beautiful job. He did a beautiful job.
Oh. Joanne says you're talking louder and closer to your mic. She can smell the aroma from here, so
Thank you,
all's
Joanne.
good.
I hope what you smell is the aroma. And not Maureen's B.O.
Oh, can you show the pimento jar? Okay. The pimento jar for
So I use
Colleen.
these guys right here. And then I slice them down. You can buy sliced pimentos, but I find them to be very hard to work with because we still need to chop them up. So Maureen, why don't you come in and take a closer look here? See what we got. So you'll see we have our peppers, and the pimentos have worked themselves into here now. And this has all been cooked in bacon fat. I have some lemon in there. And I finish it with a little bit of white wine. And I'm just going to cook off the white wine, the heat from that white wine for a little bit. So when the white wine is reduced and you really don't smell the wine anymore, that's when you know you're done. And we're almost ready to plate up some Clams Casino, Dino. That's your cue, Maureen.
For what?
I have a broiler plate in there. And that's got some clams already shucked. Come on, you like those. Look at that, beautifully shucked clams already. I have, somebody made some Clams Casino ahead of time.
Is there a difference in pimentos?
No, you're fine getting pimentos or roasted red peppers. Either one, no problem. Don't sweat it.
Joe Crow popped in, said we went clamming yesterday and made baked clams and thought about asking you to do a show making baked clams, and here you are.
Here we are. Baked clams. One of my absolute favorite dishes to order when I'm out, one of my favorite dishes to make. And I'm not going to lie, and I shouldn't even say this publicly, but all my life the best baked clams I've eaten have always been from Donovan's.
Oh, great.
I watched the guy there make it one time. He puts in a little bit of white cheese in there, like, you know, the white Mexican cheese, just a little bit. I can't replicate their baked clams. They're incredible, though. Welcome, Joey. Where'd you go clamming?
If you're using an electric stove top, where should the temperature be at? Joanne's asking.
Joanne? I really don't know your stove, but I'm going to say keep it at like a medium to high. Just enough to get that alcohol cranked up out of the wine. Too low, it's just going to sit there. Crank it up, let some of that the alcohol evaporate off of the white wine. A dry white wine is fine. Just a simple Pinot Grigio, boxed white wine is totally fine. So you see here I have some clams that I have shucked already. In order to make Clams Casino, it's a very simple process from here on out.
Joe said Zach and I went to Long Beach in St. James.
All right, nice. We clammed up on Block Island last year. I was terrible. I was. Ashlyn did great. But for anybody who wants to go clamming, and when you get home, sometimes the clams are a little sandy. I'll show you how to open clams. But if you get home and the clams are sandy, because on a clam, there's a little bit of a foot or a neck. Some people refer to it either way. Little neck clams have a very little siphon. A steamer clam, aka the pisser clam, has the long neck that sticks out of the clamshell. They use that neck to sort of suck and blow sand in and out of their body, and they use it for buoyancy. It's how they go into the sand, it's how they come out of the sand. So they take in a lot of sand in their bellies, and of course just in the shells. So a good thing to do is when you get your clams home, spray them down, and put them in a bowl of cold water with a couple of capfuls of vinegar. I got this one from Kara. I don't know if you're watching, Kara, but Scott was watching. Kara and my cousin Jesse were doing that. And what happens is the vinegar is in the water. The clam sucks in a little bit of that vinegar and goes, they don't like it. So they spit out the sand that they're keeping in their belly. Another thing people do is cornmeal. Same thing. The cornmeal is in the water. The clam sucks in a little bit of water. Gets some of the cornmeal. Doesn't like it. So it sort of spits out what's in its belly, and that would be sand. So that's a good way to clean your sandy clams. So with your Clams Casino, which we have finished, which looks like this. This is what you would call, some people would call this casino butter. In the casino butter, like at Oyster Bar in Grand Central, for example, they had large, almost like liverwurst-sized rolls of butter that had these items in it. So they would fold this into a cool butter, and they would make like a sausage out of it. And the butter would take on that flavor. That's not the way I do it. And with the bacon fat that's in here, with some time in the refrigerator, this will congeal, and it'll be perfect to work with. And that's exactly what we have here. Right here. So, just to be safe, it's congealed. And what I do is I just take a little bit of a spoon here, and I spoon some right on top. Now remember, we have in here this congealed bacon fat. So the bacon fat, along with the clam juice, that's here.
Katie Swolf's friend Kate is checking in. Hi, Craig and Maureen. Looks delicious.
Hey, Kate, how are you?
And the one and only Barbara Garrity said, hi, Jackie and Baba here.
Oh, my mom has made it, folks. Usually it's a bit of an issue, but my mom has made it. Glad you're here, Mom. I better be careful. Better not say anything bad. So, you got this on camera? Your recipe calls for you to take a couple of pieces of bacon and just put a piece of bacon right on top. You've got white wine in here, so the juice from the white wine, the fat from the bacon, the clam juice, the lemon, all that is going to start to cook inside the shell. And the liquid will bubble inside the shell and cook the clam in the shell while the top starts to sizzle. This is going to go right under the broiler. This is going to go under the broiler.
Okay, keep an eye on it.
Yes. My sister is terrified of the broiler. She says, 1 second everything's fine, and then you turn around and everything's burnt. And she's right. But, look at these beauties. Let me plate these guys up. Oh, these are gorgeous. These are baked, stuffed clams, a la Block Island Seafood Company. So they get a lemon, then that is all they would need.
Beautiful.
That is...
Will you bring it up close?
Sure.
Yeah, beautiful.
Love these. I'm going to try one. This is a salad fork. Since my mother is watching, she's saying, why isn't he using a cocktail fork right now? It's in the other drawer, Ma. I promise. I have cocktail forks. A little bit of lemon. And as I said before, Joey made baked clams yesterday, and I'm assuming he used the clams that he caught. You can use baked clams, rather you can use the clams for sure, but don't be afraid to chop up some shrimp and even a little bit of scallop. And we're going to talk about scallops in a little bit too. So let's see how this turned out. Boy, that's hot.
Yeah, be careful.
Oh God, that's good. That is good. That is real good.
Hot.
Hot.
Booger.
Hot. Woo! My Clams Casino were in there and they're working. I have them under the broiler. Alexa, set a timer for 1 minute.
1 minute. Start now.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry. What was that?
Nothing. Alexa, just, do you have a timer set?
Here's something I found for you.
Alexa, do you have a timer set?
Sorry. Alexa, ask her how much is left on the timer.
Alexa, how much is left on the timer?
You have 30 seconds left on your 1 minute timer.
So this Clams Casino mix, I'm going to put it right with the other Clams Casino mix. And I'm going to put it right into the fridge. And remember, we have the bacon fat in there. So that congeals. And that's good to go. So I have some clams in there that have not been shucked. Would you mind handing me those? They should be in a bowl. And I have a little bowl with some shrimp and scallops as well. Alexa, stop. These are our Clams Casino. You get a nice look there.
Mm-hmm.
That's beauty. I had them up by the broiler so the bacon starts to crisp up. We're going to lower it a little bit and just keep them warm. Alexa, set a timer for 1 minute.
1 minute. Starting now.
Thank you, doll. So as far as shucking clams is concerned, when you have your clam, you need a clam knife. So this clam knife is not very sharp, so don't worry about cutting yourself. You should really not cut yourself. It's not that sharp. Opening clams is like playing the piano or anything else that you're good at now that you weren't good at the first time. Okay? So it just takes practice. But I want to make these dishes, Craig, and I don't want to have to bother with this. Ask the fishmonger to open them for you ahead of time and leave them on the shell. If he or she is a nice fishmonger, she should do that for you. If you want to make baked clams, not Clams Casino, then you don't have to worry about shucking the clams at all. Put the clams in some water, a little bit of water, steam them wide open. The shells will pop. Alexa, stop. The shells will pop and the clams will be cooked. You just chop them up and you use the broth that was created in the pot. So baked clams, you don't need to shuck a clam at all. But for Clams Casino, you will need shucked clams. And Maureen's just going to come in here real quick as I demonstrate. So there's a muscle on a clam here and here on each side. It's called the abductor muscle, and that's what keeps the clam closed. So a nice cold clam is your best bet. That kind of lulls the clam to sleep a little bit. And here is a perfectly shucked clam. Now, as I said, there's a muscle. See that muscle here? See that muscle here? That muscle appears here and here as well. So it's one muscle on each side, so it's two muscles. Again, we take our clam. This is almost looks like a little buttocks, if you think about it, right? Where the back of the shell meets. Let's say you put the knife in between the buttocks, and you push the knife and you shook the clam. That releases the muscle. And same thing, very easy. Clam opens up, nice and easy. Boom, just like that. Last one. Here you go. You ready, Maureen?
Mm-hmm.
Get the knife between the two shells. Feel around. And it really is as easy as I'm making it look. The first couple of clams that I shucked were not very easy. So, practice. Would you throw this back in the fridge room? Just like that. No faces. Alright, I know these babies are done. And these are our Clams Casino. And they are, I'm going to have to give it a moment before I try one because they're nice and hot. But was it Joanne who was asking why these are always served as such a small size? Now you know. You've seen the difference between those big stuffed clams and these little ones. The big ones, you're sitting there, you got your fork, you're taking your time. These guys, one-shot deal. Pop. Away you go. Okay? Make sense? Good. Anybody have any questions, please send them in. Otherwise, it's just me talking to Maureen. And we already talk once a week, so. Oh, what do I have here? I'll show you what I have here. It's time for some Coquille St. John. I think you're going to like these, folks. I have what we call our Coquille bouillon, and that is our poaching liquid. So what I did here was just sliced up a shallot. Your recipe calls for sliced onion. So this is our cooked bouillon. And in here you will see sliced shallot, a bay leaf, garlic clove, some parsley stalks. I've got a little bit of salt in here. a couple of peppercorns, and this is how you would poach salmon. You could also use tarragon. Really adds a nice licorice or anise flavor, but we're using parsley tonight. So this is our poaching liquid. We're going to poach scallops and shrimp. So let's get that. Oh, sorry. We also had a little bit of white wine in there. Maureen, I have a little bit of butter in the refrigerator. Would you mind giving me that? I have 2 pieces. Yeah, right in that drawer. Thank you. So this dish requires 2 saute pans and something to put the shrimp and the scallops into. So I have 2 saute pans. One has the poaching liquid. The other is going to have a 1/4 cup of butter, unsalted butter. That's right there. I'm going to let that start working. So Coquille Saint-Jacques means the shells of St. James. And it's traditionally just made with scallops. But when I was talking to my mother this morning, she said put some shrimp in there as well. Always do what your mother tells you, folks. If you're out there and you think about not listening to your mother, trust me, listen to your mother. It saves you a lot of headache and a lot of hassle down the road. Your mother's always right. Or at least my mother is always right.
No, it's true.
Here we have some shrimp. These are 16-20 shrimp, meaning there's 16 to 20 shrimp per pound. Tail off, deveined. I'm going to cube these up into some small pieces. Remember, on this dish, the seafood that we cook, we want it to be bite size. So the shrimp come out, and I'm going to cut them into some bite-sized pieces. You could use those little shrimp. I don't really care for them. I don't know why. There's something about those like little tiny shrimp.
I don't trust it.
I don't trust them either. They're babies.
Yeah, let
they
the
don't know what
babies
was
be.
going on. They're walking around one day and boom, they're in a net. Let them be. So I'm gonna leave this shrimp here for a moment while that butter back there starts to melt up. But I have this diced shallot, and this is going to go into this butter that I have working back here. I'm going to catch you all up on everything. And a little bit of garlic. So I have my shrimp all cut up. I have here some sea scallops, dry sea scallops, very important. A wet scallop is a scallop that has been sitting in like a solution, a preservative solution of water and you want to grab a little pack, maybe? Keep an eye on it. If it hits 5, we do the pack.
Yep.
So if sometimes you see there's a little tag or like a little muscle on your scallop.
Dennis Bracken wants to know if he's going to see you this weekend.
This weekend, Denny. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I made that announcement earlier in the show when Brad was chatting. So yes, buddy, I can't wait to see you.
Will you be home Sunday night?
Yeah, as soon as it slows down, I'll leave.
I don't.
Right? How's that sound? So on the scallops, you threw me off there.
Sorry.
I need that. No, the one with the muscle. Anyway, the scallops. Danny, I'll see you this weekend. Dry scallops. You don't want wet scallops. Here, can you see that? See this tag right here? This little piece of this scallop. I peel that right off. It just sticks to the side of the scallop. That's where the scallop was attached to the shell. Some people call that the muscle. It technically is part of the muscle. So in the scallop, this is the muscle. When you open a scallop shell, this is the muscle. That part of the clam that was attaching, that was keeping the shell closed, this is what does it in a scallop. So before I forget, one more time. Dry scallops mean that they were caught, shucked, and brought to market. those are the ones you want. They're always going to be a little pricier, but those are the ones you want. Day boat, diver, that's exactly what you want. A wet scallop has sat in water and a preservative. So the scallop, being a living organism, sucks in that water and that preservative, takes on that bad taste, metallic-y, chemically taste, plus the water. So you buy a pound of scallops, you're actually paying for some water. When you go to cook the scallop, to sear it perhaps in a pan, it just releases its water, and now it's steaming and it's boiling in this chemically water. Now, ask, are these dry scallops? If they don't know, walk out. So I have a little bit of shallot and a little bit of garlic here, and that's been cooking. Now this smells great. This has been cooking in some butter. So what we do now is we're gonna make a roux. Maureen's gonna come in here for a moment while I do two things. You ready, Maureen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have our poaching liquid, so in go our shrimp and our scallops. That's exactly what I need. Now I want to make sure that everybody gets cooked in here. So everybody's going to get poached. And I'm going to cover that up so I can keep a lot of heat on it. That's covered. Stay with me, Maureen, because now over here, I start to add some flour to this butter. And now I'm making a roux. Quarter cup of butter and a quarter cup of flour. And you'll see that the shallot is in there, a little bit of the garlic. The main thing here, you want to cook out the flour. You don't want any little globules of flour sitting there, no little flour bombs that can stick around and mess you up later. So this is going to just cook for about another 30 seconds or so. And we'll step back. And Maureen has a little bit of heavy cream in the refrigerator for me, I believe.
Do I?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay.
It's in the H aisle. Poaching liquid, doing great work. Three minutes or so, that'll cook the scallops and the shrimp, no problem. Our roux is going to now become a bechamel when we add the cream. This is kind of how you make the beginning part of a macaroni and cheese. So there are two types of, several different types of roux. You could add flour to bacon fat, and that's a bacon fat roux. You could add flour to, as you add fat and flour, you're creating a roux. Okay? When you start to add some milk or some half and half or heavy cream, you're now making what's called a bechamel. If you added crumbled sausage to that, that would be your sausage gravy that you put on a biscuit. If you start to add cheese to it, you're now making a mornay, which is what we're going to do. A dark roux takes about 20 to 25 minutes. That's what you would use to start a gumbo. Down in New Orleans, they say a gumbo roux should be as dark as the Mississippi. This is a blonde roux, so it doesn't have the chocolatey, nutty, dark roux. Between a blonde roux and a dark is, people say that the blonde roux tend to have more fun. Oh. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, God, that was great. Was there anything else in that, I bet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's some hard something.
Okay, so, what you've been here for, look for you. We'll show the folks what happened here is we thickened up our roux. We've got our cream in there. And you'll see that the cream gets nice and thick, but we don't want it too thick because we still have to melt some cheese to this. But right now, I have some extra flavor, and in this. See, I have here so our poaching liquid. That's going to add great flavor to this. That gives us a nice seafood cream. I suggested using milk this morning to my mother, and she almost jumped through the phone to punch me. Now I have some freshly grated Gruyere cheese. You could also use a little bit of Swiss too. So we have some Gruyere going in. This was just grated today, right before you all got here. And now we have our Mornay. And that looks good. I'm going to thin it out with just a little more dry white wine. A little bit of black pepper. A touch of salt. And your recipe calls for cooked ahead mushrooms. When you cook mushrooms, they take a little while to cook, and they release a lot of liquid. So you want to do that separately, and now our mushrooms go in. And we have here one beautiful looking cheese sauce. I'm using a non-stick pan, so it's sort of moving around the pan. Nicely done, Aunt Maureen. Nicely done. So, reached out to my mom this morning to get a couple of these broiler dishes, these bakers. Exactly what she had. She brought over a selection, so I chose these. Let's start out with this spoon. And I'm going to take a little bit and just put it down first. Sort of coat the bottom.
Why mushrooms? I don't know. It looks good, but it just seems like...
Mushrooms are optional. Some recipes call for mushrooms and some don't. Slotted spoon. Here's my slotted spoon, which I love. And I'm going to be careful not to...
You don't want the...
I don't need the parsley and stuff, no. Seafood's going in. I think I'm just going to make one big one.
Got a green piece on this. I don't know if you want to...
I'm going to put this right in there as well.
So you put the layer of cheese down, then
a little bit of cheese down.
The fish, and then another...
The fish, and then we're going to top it with some more cheese. And a little bit of breadcrumb. And don't forget, we have plenty of liquid on the shrimp and the scallops right now. So that's also going to release liquid into here.
Got some more greens on the side.
Okay.
I know you don't want them in there.
What is that? Oh, that's a mushroom. Now, I would use a smaller dish if you're going to serve this as an appetizer. Maybe get yourself a scallop shell. Various stores sell them. Some of that liqueur. Now we finish it with our wonderful cheese sauce. You don't have to bury the whole thing, because the cheese will spread a little bit, and it's okay if it's not entirely, it doesn't have to be entirely covered. Take a little bit of panko breadcrumb. And the panko, feel free to put this in a little bit of olive oil first if you want. Get your questions ready, folks. Get your questions ready. Going in. Alexa, set a timer for
Timer for how
2 minutes. What do you say? 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Starting now.
Okay, good job, Alexa.
Thanks. I'm glad I prepared.
She's a real piece of work. Okay, so Coquille Saint Jacques. Like I said, that is the shells of St. James. It is the Mornay sauce. If you want to put some Swiss cheese, works well in there as well. You want a cheese that's physically pretty solid, as well as something that's sort of pungent with taste. Swiss, Gruyere, that'll work. You can do half and half as well. No, don't worry about mixing that up. And if we have any questions, I'll take them now.
Can you make a lighter sauce for the scallops?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe some water.
Lighter
I'm
how?
kidding. You could use light cream instead of heavy cream. You could use half and half. That will work.
Because what makes it, it's the heavy cream.
Yeah, the heavy cream is what makes this dish. This is a French dish. So if Larry were here, he would say, no, you can't make it that way. But if you want to make something that's, if you want to do it without the roux, now this might drop some of your calories. You could do this dish without the roux. You could do straight heavy cream and reduce the heavy cream over and over. Not over and over, but just reduce the heavy cream on a stovetop, and that'll thicken that way. And I've seen people put an egg yolk right into there as well. Again, it's not really lighter in terms of calories, but if you want to avoid butter and flour, there's a way to avoid some butter and flour.
The heavy cream, yes, it makes the dish, but what I was trying to say is the heavy cream is what makes it high in calorie.
Yeah, so if you want to replace the heavy cream, I would use light cream or half and half.
Yeah.
How's
Joanne
that?
she knows the heavy cream makes the dish, just not as rich.
Okay. Alexa, stop it. When Joanne's asking questions, Alexa, you stop it. I'm sorry, Joanne. Alexa's so nasty. Let me see if we have...
I don't know that one.
She heard me call her nasty.
She doesn't know that.
She doesn't know that one. I'm going to check for some browning on top of the Coquille Saint Jacques.
Patty Fairley wants to know if your barber's open up yet. Looking good.
Thank you, PTF. My barber is not open yet. Maureen, get a shot of this. This is Coquille Saint Jacques, the Lock Island Seafood Company. It's a beauty. So the cheese sauce has really melted right into the fish. And you can see it nice and creamy. Maureen can hear the rustling. And you can see there's a little bit of liquid in there from the bottom cheese having melted. I want to get some breadcrumb and a mushroom. Let's see how we did.
Careful.
Wow. That's tasty. That's very tasty, but I can't eat this whole thing because
You'll be taking a nap.
it's a lot, yeah. What a great dish. It's just too many calories for me right now. So to go back to Patty's question, my barber is not open yet. I don't know what's going on. I go to his house to get his haircut, to get my haircut. And it is time, folks, for a haircut. The guy who cuts my hair, my man Lewis, has been cutting my hair since I'm about 12. So I am brand loyal.
Carlene Barbella thinks you need to hit that applause button again.
Oh! Thank you, Colleen. Much appreciated. That's very kind of you. Do we have any other questions out there tonight?
None.
We did the baked stuffed clams. We did clams casino. We did the Coquille Saint Jacques, which I just love to say. No other questions?
Nope.
I'll stay here all night, folks. I'm only kidding. I won't. Maureen's got to do all these dishes.
Nope.
Well, I want to thank you folks for tuning in tonight. I want to thank Krista. I want to thank the Hot Pod Library. And the recipes are on the Block Island Seafood Company Facebook page. I know that. If you haven't already liked the Block Island Seafood Company page, please do that. We're also doing some catering now as we've entered phase 2, some drop-offs and things like that. And if it's safe to cook in your backyard where we have some social distancing, we're starting to investigate that as well. For anybody who tuned in recently for our big special last week, we're putting together all the numbers and raffles and things like that, and we're going to have a Facebook Live raffle drawing for our Sunday Cam Charter raffle and for the Donovan's Prize package. Ladies and gentlemen, quietly or loudly at home, a big hand for my beautiful wife, the Queen of Queens, the Queen of Quarantine, the Dean of my heart, Miss Maureen. Okay, that's a bit much. And just a slightly larger hand for me. Oh, stop it. Oh, I'm kidding about that, really. But we couldn't have done it without you tonight, folks. Stay connected, and as we reopen, stay safe. It's still okay to be, to be safe. So,
but you keep your masks on.
Keep your masks on and
wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
With soap. As the highway sign says.
Highway, with soap, in case you were using bananas or nothing. I don't know. But we love you, and we're very grateful that you were here with us tonight. We'll be seeing you.